Who are the Beatles? If you're pondering this question, prepare for a journey through time. Back to an era when four lads from Liverpool changed the world of music forever. Hi, and welcome to the Beatles Wings. If you're curious about the Beatles or just want to know more, you've come to the right place. You can get real facts here because I'm a huge fan and I've read and researched all my material. So if by the end of this video you are completely satisfied, like, subscribe, comment, and share. Now let's get back to the video. The band first started in Liverpool, England in the late 1950s. The band initially formed when a young John Lennon formed a skiffle group called the Quarrymen in 1957. Skiffle was a popular genre of music at the time, characterized by its use of homemade and improvised instruments such as washboards and tea chest basses. Later that year, Paul McCartney first met John Lennon on July 6, 1957, at the Walton Parish Church in Liverpool, England. McCartney was introduced to Lennon by a mutual friend, Ivan Vaughan. He knew McCartney could play the guitar and thought he should meet Lennon, who was performing with his band, the Quarrymen, at the church feet. McCartney impressed Lennon with his rendition of Eddie Cochran's song 20 Flight Rock, and after the performance, Lennon was intrigued by McCartney's musical talent and invited him to join the band. McCartney's skills as a musician, along with his songwriting abilities, quickly became evident to Lennon. Recognizing a shared love for melody and rhythm, they joined forces. George Harrison, a friend of Paul's, later joins the band and brings his own unique flair to the mix. The core trio of Lennon, McCartney, and Harrison begin performing together regularly, playing at local events and venues throughout Liverpool. The meeting at the Walton Parish Church is often regarded as a pivotal moment in music history, as it marks the beginning of one of the most successful songwriting partnerships of all time. As the 60s dawn, the Quarrymen undergo a transformation. Stuart Sutcliffe, a friend of John's from art school, and the addition of a drummer, Pete Best. It's then that they settle on the name The Beatles. The band's early performances mainly consist of covers of popular music rock and roll songs of the time, along with some original compositions. The band, now complete, heads to Hamburg, Germany. This is a turning point for the Beatles. It's 1960, and they perform in the city's red light district. They honed in their skills through long hours of playing and gained a significant following. It was during this time in Hamburg that they refined their sound and their stage presence. When it was time to return to Liverpool, though, Stuart decided to stay in Germany, thus losing their bass player. With no one wanting to take up the bass, Paul McCartney caved and took this position. Upon returning to Liverpool, the Beatles continued to build a devoted fan base, playing at venues like the Cavern Club. In 1961, they caught the attention of Brian Epstein, a local record store manager, who became their manager. Epstein helped secure the band a recording contract with Parlophone Records under the guidance of producer George Martin. This is where a pivotal moment happens in the band's history. Tensions within the band and concerns about Best's drumming abilities led to his dismissal from the group in August 1962, just before the Beatles' recording session for their first single, Love Me Do. According to accounts, the decision to replace Best with Ringo Starr was primarily driven by the desire for greater music cohesion and compatibility within the group. Ringo Starr, whose real name is Richard Starkey, had already established himself as a skilled drummer. He was already in the Liverpool music scene as a member of Rory Storm and the Hurricanes. Starr had even filled in for Best during occasional gigs when Best was unable to perform. Starr's reputation as a solid drummer and his down-to-earth personality made him a perfect choice to join the Beatles. His addition to the group marked the beginning of the classic lineup of the Beatles: John, Paul, George, and Ringo. With the new lineup, the Beatles released their first single, Love Me Do, in October 1962. While it initially did not achieve massive success, their second single, Please Please Me, released in 1963, became a #1 hit in the UK charts, marking their breakthrough. As their popularity exploded in the UK, the Beatles embarked on major tours across the country, playing in theaters and concert halls to increasingly larger crowds. Their tours were marked by frenzied fans, screaming crowds, and unprecedented media attention. They became a cultural phenomenon, not just for their music, but also for their style and personalities. Now it was time to conquer America. The Beatles arrived in the United States in February 1964. It marked the beginning of their legendary impact on American culture. Their appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show was watched by millions of viewers, and their subsequent tour in the U.S. caused mass hysteria wherever they went. They performed at iconic venues such as Carnegie Hall in New York City and the Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles. Beatlemania, as it was called, was in full swing. Touring was a significant aspect of their rise to fame and their impact on popular culture. The Beatles' influence extended way beyond their music, though. They became cultural icons, their hairstyles, and their fashion choices emulated by fans worldwide. They even dabbled in films with movies like A Hard Day's Night and Help, further cementing their place in popular culture. Yet, as the decade progresses, tensions rose within the band. Creative differences and the pressures of fame led to their split in 1970. Despite this, the Beatles' legacy lives on, and their music continues to inspire and captivate listeners. The Beatles, comprised of John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr, were the band from Liverpool that transformed the music landscape. They rose to prominence in the 60s, releasing a series of hit singles, albums, and showcased their innovative style. Despite disbanding in 1970, the Beatles achieved unprecedented success, revolutionizing popular music and becoming one of the world's most influential bands in history. Overall, the Beatles' rise to fame was a combination of their talent, timing, and cultural significance. They captured the spirit of the time and left a lasting mark on the world of music and popular culture. So who are the Beatles? They are quite simply a band that changed the course of music history, leaving an inevitable mark on the world. A band that continues to inspire, reminding us of the power of melody, rhythm, and a shared dream. So this is the first video on the Beatles Wings, and I hope you enjoyed. If there's any subject on the Beatles that you would like me to explore, please leave a comment below and I'll see what I can do. Thanks for watching.